Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I pray all the students are doing well. Welcome back to another academic year, 2023-2024. Alhamdulillah wa shukrulillah. We're extremely thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing us to have another academic year here at the madrasa. We make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He accepts all the efforts that we did last year and make this year more successful than the previous year. First of all, I'd like to begin by saying welcome back to everybody. This includes the teachers and includes the students. Also, mashallah, we may have some new faces within the class. Welcome to you also. We welcome you here as part of the madrasa team. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow all of you to settle in with extreme ease and allow you to benefit from the madrasa system. So today's assembly is just very brief, but it will cover many important aspects for the year. Now, the very first thing I want to mention is about the madrasa calendar. Alhamdulillah, it's been sent to all of your parents. They have access to the whole year calendar. This year, our holidays run exactly the same as school holidays. So the reason I'm mentioning this is because it implies directly to Ramadan. So it means that when you have 2 weeks off in school, you will also have 2 weeks off in mosque during April holidays. And it also means that the May holidays that we did not give last year due to giving extra holidays in Ramadan, this year we will be giving all of those May holidays, inshallah. As you can all appreciate, the weather is extremely good during those times, and parents want to take you out for the weekends, and there is 2 long weekends within May, and inshallah you will all be able to benefit from that. Also this year, we want to have more parents' evenings, so we will have around about 2 or 3 parents' evenings in the whole year. Last year we only had 1, but we want to have at least 2 or 3 this year. Our very first parents' evening will actually be quite soon, in the next couple of weeks, possibly the 1st of September, Friday the 1st of September. And if all goes to plan, then Friday the 1st of September, when we have parents' evening, we will actually give a holiday to the students on Friday the 1st of September, and then we will open the madrasa to parents only, so we can have the parents' evening. However, this is all provisional. It is subject to change. It depends how quickly and how easily we settle in from today onwards. It depends on how quickly we settle in and how quickly the class gets settled. Thereafter, we can start planning for the whole year. If it takes longer for classes to settle in, then we will have to delay the parents' evening. Also, mashallah, last year we had our fire drill. This year will also be the same. We will have our annual fire drill. It will take place in November sometime, inshallah. And also we will have our 2 exams in the year. Middle of the year exam will take place in December, and the end of year exam will take place at the end of May. Now, last year the exams took place in June, from the beginning of June, and then we had exams throughout the entirety of June. But this year we want to do it slightly early, so we will be doing our exams end of May, and then it will run through to maybe the beginning of June. Thereafter, it will actually be Dhul Hijjah time, which means that it is the time of Hajj. And then we will use the last 2 weeks of madrasa doing fun activities within the madrasa, but also a major part of that will be to do a virtual Hajj within the madrasa. So we will give, how a virtual Hajj will work is every classroom becomes a rukn an aspect of Hajj. So one classroom will be given the task to where you tie your ihram. The other class will be given a task to make a Kaaba where we will do the tawaf. Another class will be given the task of making the Mina tents. Another class will be given the task of being Muzdalifah, where we stay under the stars and the night sky, and we sleep on the floor. And then another class will be given the task of making Arafah and standing in dua on the day of Arafah. And all of these things put together, it will we will conduct a virtual Hajj. So you will actually be able to wear your ihram, go through the stages, and feel how it would feel in a real Hajj. So this is what it is called virtual Hajj. It's something to look forward to at the end of the year, and inshallah we will be giving out more information near the time. But this is an idea that we have seen other madrasas use and other schools use, Islamic schools down in England, and it just looks beautiful. And inshallah, we will be trying to emulate that here at the madrasa this year. I do want to mention here, since we're on the topic of exams, that there has been a slight improvement to the way that we will conduct exams. So we have the middle of year exam and the end of year exam. And you will remember from last year, the middle of year exam results were not added to your end of year results. The end of year exam and your middle of year exam, both of those results were not added together. But this year we want to make a change to that. The first thing will be that your middle of year exams and your end of year exams will be added to the end of year result. But also, when you are studying throughout the year, if you're in Qaida class, then whenever you finish a level in your Qaida, in your Ahsan al-Qawaid, before moving on to the next level, there will be a test, an in-class test. And it's more than likely that I will be coming in and taking that test. I will mark and grade everybody, and then we will update it to the portal. And if, inshallah, all students do well, we will progress the entire class on to the next level. And then your teacher will carry on teaching the next level. If you're in Juz Amma, anytime you finish a surah, it will most likely be me that will come in and test the whole class on that surah. I will grade you, add the grades to the portal, and then the teacher will be given the task to teach the next surah. And if you're in Quran, every time you finish a juz, I will come in, test you randomly on that juz, and then I will upgrade it, upload the marks to the portal, and then your teacher will start teaching the next juz. These are called progressive tests. It sees your progression in real time. So these are for Quran. In An-Nasiha, whenever you are studying it, whenever you finish a topic, I will come in, and similarly, I will test you on that topic. We will grade it, I will mark it, and then we will put the results on the parent portal, and then the teacher will start teaching the next topic. And then for basic essentials, anytime you memorize something new, you've completely memorized a surah, or you've completely memorized a hadith, or you've completely memorized a dua, I will come into your class, test the entire class, grade it, add the marks to the portal, and then the teacher will move on. These are called progressive tests. Now, these will be inside your class, and it will be very short. I will come in during that period that you're studying, and a very quick test to test everybody. I will grade it, add the marks to the portal, and then your parents will know how well you know that level, that subject, or that topic. Now, progressive tests will add, and we will add them to your end of year results as well. So there are three things that you will be marked on: your progressive tests, your middle of year exam, and your end of year exam. All three of them combined will give you your total end of year result. So the progressive tests count towards 20% of your end of year result. So they play a big part in your end of year result. you do not think that you can just do terribly in your progressive tests and still come first at the end of the year. Next is the middle of year exam. Now, the middle of year exam will count towards 30% of your end of year result. So do not think that you can do terribly in the middle of year exam and still come first at the end of the year. And lastly, the end of year exam counts towards 50% of your total result. All three of them combined will give you your overall result, and that is how we will get the first, second, and third positions. Also, this year, for the middle of year and end of year exams, the B1 and G1 class, we will continue doing that as an oral exam, but also the G2 class and B2 class, we will be trying oral tests for you as well. We've seen that the two classes do struggle with writing during the exams, so we will try a different and alternative method by giving them the opportunity of having an oral test. It will be the same, imagine it's the same setup, the same questions being asked to you, but instead of you having to write your answer, you will speak your answer and you will say it to the examiner. We will see how this goes in the middle of year exam, and if it works well, then we will continue it on in the end of year exam. Now, the progressive tests that happen within your class, they will be a mixture of oral tests and written tests. So for the majority, for the Quran, it will be oral, Qaida, Juz Amma, Quran. For basic essentials, it will be oral, similarly how we do in the middle of year exam and end of year exam. And the An-Nasiha, it will be a mixture of sometimes written exam and sometimes oral exam. So we will combine the both and we will do both of them. Hopefully that is clear, that how we have improved the examination procedures here. And inshallah, we will see how it goes this year. And if it works well, we will continue it on for the further years. The next thing I'd like to mention is what you will be studying this year in your class. So we will start from the bottom classes and we will work our way up. So the B1 and G1 class, they will do the second half of their qaida, and they will, inshallah, by the end of this year, they will complete their qaida. Also, they will move on from my first book, and you will start An-Nasiha course book 1. And also you will move on from basic essentials reception year, and now you will move on to year 1 in basic essentials. For B2, inshallah, you will complete Juz Amma. You will start off from Surah Nas until Surah Fajr, doing the joining, how you do in Qaida. So for example, Qaf, Lam, Dhamma, Qul, like this. For Qul A'udhu bi Rabbin Nas, you're going to join all of these words until Surah Fajr, which is half of the Juz Amma. So you will continue using all of the techniques and the rules that you learned in Qaida to join letters. You will continue using that for half of the Qaida. When you reach Hal Ataka Hadithul Ghashiyah, that is when we will stop the joining and you will start reading fluently and continuously without having to join the letters. And you will do that until Surah Naba, which is Amma Yatasa'alun. You will do the entire Qaida backwards. So smallest surah first, and then you will work your way up to the bigger surahs. You will also be moving on to course book 2 in An-Nasiha, and also you will be moving on to year 2 in basic essentials. G2 class, you still have half of the Qaida to complete, and you also have the Juz Amma to complete. So you will be completing the second half of Juz Amma, inshallah, by October holidays, inshallah, if all goes to plan. Thereafter, you will start Juz Amma, and you will complete it by the end of the year. You also will be moving on to course book 2 in An-Nasiha, and you will also be moving on to year 2 in An-Nasiha. in basic essentials. Sorry. B3 class, inshallah, will begin Quran this year. So you will all be given a Quran from the madrasa. You must write your name on the front of it. You must never write in your Quran with a pen because you cannot erase it. You can mark your mistakes with a pencil. You can also mark your sabaq, which is highly recommended. Take a pencil out and mark where you have been given as sabaq by your teacher, and also date it on the side. Put a little mark that on this date you did this sabaq. So B3, you will be starting Quran and you will finish, inshallah, 7.5 juz of the entire Quran, which is 1/4 of the entire Quran. B3, you have 3 course books to study this year. Number 2, number 3, and number 4, inshallah. You have these 3 course books to study in the entire year. And also you will be studying in Basic Essentials year 3 and 4. For G3, it's very similar, a slight change. You will be doing the same in Quran, which is you will be starting Quran, and the same advice goes to you that you will be given a Quran from the madrasa. Write your name on the front, use a pencil always inside, always mark your sabaq and date it so that you remember on which date that sabaq was covered. The slight change will be for course book in An-Nasiha. So you have already studied course book 2 and you've already completed it. So you will be only doing 3 and 4. Classroom B3, we had a fluctuation of teachers throughout the year, and that is why one course book was not completed. So therefore, alhamdulillah, this year we have a stable team and we have a fixed teacher who inshallah will do all of the hard work in teaching 3 course books to B3. But G3, you have already covered course book 2. So you will only be doing 3 and 4. And also in Basic Essentials, you will be memorizing year 3 and year 4, inshallah. Thereafter, I do want to mention here, just before I move on to B4 and G4, that the 3 exams, the B3 and G3 exams, they were all from course book 1. And G3, even though they had finished course book 2, we did not do the An-Nasiha exam, the written exam on course book 2 for them. Now this year, when the middle of year exam happens, you will be tested on course book 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the end of year exam. Whenever they happen, the tests will be from number 1, 2, 3, and 4. There will be no missing out any course books this year. Moving on to B4 and G4 classes. So you will start off from where you left the Quran. You will start off from there, and your job is to complete until the end of Surah Kahf. The end of Surah Kahf is in the beginning of Juz 16. So the reason why we haven't just cut it off at the end of Juz 15 is it's only like 4 more pages, 4.5 more pages until the end of the surah. So we will finish until the end of Surah Kahf, and it shouldn't make too much of an impact on the curriculum, inshallah. So you will start from where you left off, and your job is to complete until the end of Surah Kahf, which is Juz 15, and then you will have completed half of the Quran, inshallah. You also will be studying course book 3 and 4, and in Basic Essentials, you will be studying year 3, memorizing year 3 and year 4. B5 classes and G5 class, you will be studying from Juz 15 until the end of the Quran, and inshallah you will be completing the Quran with us this year. You will start where you left off from last year, and you will continue on until you finish the entire Quran. The reason why we speed up the B5 and G5 class is because they are reaching or closing in on the age where they will start to become very busy within school. They will start preparing for their mock tests, mock exams, and then in S4 they will be doing their Nat 5s, and it's an extremely busy time for them. So us as a madrasa, we recognize that they will not be able to give the same amount of time that they used to madrasa. Now, it doesn't mean that after they finish Quran and they finish this entire year, that they will leave madrasa and we have no other education program for them. That will not be the case. Inshallah, when you finish your B5 and G5, of course there is an option to leave the madrasa, but for those that wish to stay, we will have a 2-year crash course which will be only 2 days a week, and it will be after hours. It won't be 5 to 7, it will run after 7 o'clock, and it will run 2 days a week. The days are still to be decided, but most likely Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7:30 till 9:30, and we will cover much more interesting aspects within that class, which will be more age appropriate for you. And the reason why we want to have this 2-year crash course is also called a Sanatain course, which is Sanatain in Arabic just means 2 years. So it is a 2-year crash course in which you learn the tafsir of the Quran, the tashrih of the ahadith, more seerah in more depth, fiqh in more depth, what is jaiz, what is not jaiz, things about how to manage your finances when you're older, things about how to manage your family life when you're older, how to manage your social life, how to manage your married life, because you will very soon be getting married after that. So all of these things will be included in the Sanatain course, things that are very age appropriate to you. Inheritance, about when somebody passes away, how is their wealth distributed, all of these things, how to overcome depression, how to overcome peer pressure, all things that will be related to you as a youth and as a teen. Inshallah, we will try to compress it into that curriculum. So that will be not this year, but for those students that will finish the madrasa curriculum, and we will have some other form of curriculum available for you after the next year, inshallah. So you will finish Quran, and you will also finish all of the remaining course books of An-Nasiha, which are course book 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, An-Nasiha only has 8 course books, so you will have completed the entire An-Nasiha curriculum in 2 years, and that was the plan from the very beginning. Also, you will complete year 5, 6, 7, and 8 in basic essentials. So the remainder of the book you will be memorizing. So inshallah, after having studied with us for 2 years, you will have memorized the entire basic essentials. This is our dua, and this is our aim, and this is our goal and target. We make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it a reality and a success. I do want to point out that in the B5 and G5 class, when you come on to course book 6, course book 6 has 2 versions. It has a male version and a female version. The reason why it has a male version and a female version is in course book 6, it goes into fiqh in a little bit more depth. So there are certain things that apply to women that don't apply to the men. For example, menstruation cycles will apply to females, but it won't apply to the men. So that won't be included in there. But nocturnal emissions and wet dreams and these type of things will apply to the men, but they won't apply to the women. They do in a sense, but it will cover it in a little bit more detail in the male side, and it will cover it with a lot more sharm and haya within the female version. Both books cover it with a lot of humility, but there are certain things that apply to the women that don't apply to the men. So this is why they split the course books up there. So when you receive a course book 6, you will see that it says female on it. This is just for your clarification. Majority of the subjects are the same in there. There is only a difference in the fiqh page, and also a difference in the seerah page. I believe that it mentions more stories or more aspects about the lives of the Prophet's wives. So it is more relatable for the females to relate with. Of course, it's important for the males to also learn about the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but in the course books, it will go into a little bit more depth for the females. So hopefully this clarifies that, inshallah. Now that we've mentioned what every class will be studying this year, I want to just very, very basically or very quickly go over how much every class will study every day. Now, the period system is the same. The first period is Quran, then it's Islamic studies and Nasiha, then it's the last period of the day, which is the memorizing period. So in the Quran side, if you are in Qaida class, B1 and G1, you will be studying 8 boxes daily. If you're in B2, you will be doing 3 lines of Juz Amma every day. If you're in G2, you will actually be doing 25 boxes a day in Qaida. Like I mentioned, we want you to finish the Qaida by the October holidays, so this is how we will help you do it. It's 25 boxes. So for example, Amara, that is 1 box. That's what I mean by a box. Thereafter, after the October holidays, you will be doing 6 lines a day in Juz Amma because you will have lost out a couple of months in trying to finish the Qaida. But B2, you take your time and inshallah from the very beginning, keep it at 3 lines, steady pace and teach with good quality. And in G2, inshallah the quality will still be there, but it will be at a faster pace because they only finished half of the Qaida. For B3, G3, B4 and G4, you're all doing 7.5 juz of the Quran. B3 and G3 you're doing from the first until the 7.5, but B4 and G4 you're doing from 7.5 till 15, which all 4 classes are still doing 7.5 juz. So you will be studying 2 pages of the Quran daily, 2 pages from the Quran that has been given to you by the madrasa. And B5 and G5 you will be covering 15 juz in the year, so you will be studying 4 pages a day, inshallah. This is how we will help you to complete it off. In course books, inshallah, you will study between, if you are in course book 1 or course book 2, in B1 and G1 and B2 and G2, it will fluctuate sometimes between half a page and 1 page. You will study that every time there is a lesson. So for example, when it is Monday and it's a fiqh lesson, you will study half a page in fiqh. Or if you are in B2 and G2, you'll study 1 page. It sometimes goes from 1 page and sometimes half a page. So you will not study more than that. So it's small quality, small quantity, and we want you to learn it and grasp it properly. When in B3, course book 2, 3 and 4, because you have to cover 3 course books, your daily lessons will fluctuate between 1 page and 4 pages. So depending on the lesson, it will fluctuate between 1 page and 4 page. And your teacher has the exact detail on in fiqh how much to teach, in seerah how much to teach, in aqaid how much to teach, in akhlaq how much to teach. All the subjects, your teacher has that exact detail. But you can expect to study anywhere between 1 page and 4 pages. And the same thing the same thing does not go for the next class. For G3, B4 and G4, you are covering the exact same course books, 3 and 4, and your daily lessons will fluctuate between 1 page and 2.5 pages. This is how you will finish 2 course books in the entire year. So every day you will study about 1 to 2 pages of An-Nasiha. I don't want to bore you with all the details and going into exact pinpoint detail, but I just want to give you a brief overall. And B5 and G5, as you can expect, you're studying 4 course books. in the entire year. So your daily lessons will fluctuate between anywhere between 2.5 pages all the way up till maybe 7 or 8 pages per day. Now, your lessons, you're going to be jam-packed filled with information, so it's up to you to follow the speed of the class, have good punctuality, not have any days absence unless it's out with of your control. But any lessons that you do miss for a genuine reason, please make sure that you are going over your missed portions at home. As this is something that we cannot assist you with, you must do it yourself. So that covers everything for An-Nasiha. And in basic essentials, you will be memorizing all those things that will be prescribed to your class. I do want to mention that from today, inshallah, in An-Nasiha and in basic essentials, we want to do a bit of revision for the first couple of weeks. So in An-Nasiha, for the first few days, your teacher might recap with you all those things that you studied within the previous coursebook. And then once we have a bit of a more stable register and we know exactly who is in each class, thereafter we will come and give the books for An-Nasiha, the new books, and then once you receive your new books, then we can start looking towards starting them books as soon as possible and then carrying on with the curriculum. In basic essentials, until 31st of August, Thursday the 31st of August, until the end of this month, we want you to revise all of those things that you memorized before the exams, before the end of the year last year. So just as a recap, just going through all of those things that you memorized previously, and then from the beginning of September onwards, we will start with all the new things that we need to memorize in basic essentials. But from the get-go, I think Quranic studies, whether it's Qaida, Juz Amma or Quran, we can start that fairly quickly, inshallah. Fairly quickly means either by the end of this week, if teachers have the books ready. For example, if they're a Qaida teacher and the students already have the Qaida, then we can start with the lessons. If you're in the two classes and you're starting Juz Amma, then you might have to wait a couple of days until this register stabilizes, and then we will come and give you the Juz Amma. And if you are in the three classes and you're starting Quran and you do not have a Quran, then you will need to wait a few days until the register stabilizes, and then I will come and give you all the new books. So until then, just please use your Qaida, and if you're in B2, in G2, use your Qaida as revision for the next few days. And also if you're in B3, G3, just use your Juz Amma as revision for the next few days. And we will leave this revision up to the teachers, however well they feel to implement it. Inshallah, is completely up to them. And last but not least, we are very aware that there are some remaining students of the month who did not receive their certificates and gifts last year. This was due to our calligraphist was not available, and there was too many things going on in the madrasa, and this thing rewarding the students of the month, and giving them the certificates and giving them the gift cards, this was left on the back burner. But inshallah, in this month I will do my utmost best to give out those certificates and give out the gift cards to all of those students who are still yet to receive them. So it goes as a reminder for everybody that be very punctual this year. Try to keep absences to a minimum. Whenever you are absent, you must tell your parents that they need to inform the madrasa through the portal only. Do not phone call anybody, do not text message anybody, do not try to use any other, do not email anybody, and do not send a message through another student. The parent portal is for that exact purpose, and it is to communicate with the madrasa. Send it all through the parent portal. And also, the parent portal has a feature that requests an absence. So when you request an absence and we authorize it, then the teacher is aware that you are absent on their register. It shows up that you have been authorized today's absence. So please, please keep in mind good punctuality. Come on time. Come before 5 o'clock if you can. And come in your full uniform, your topi if you're male, come in your scarf if you're female, and wear your loose clothing that you attend madrasa in. Wear your jubba, your salwar kameez if you're male, and wear your abaya, jilbab, all of these things that you would wear to a madrasa if you're a female. We want to remind all students as well, we'll remind all females just now, that when you come to madrasa, there is a strict no jewelry policy, so you want to leave all of that at home. Come as simple faced as you can with no makeup. We don't want to encourage these type of things here at the madrasa. Outside of madrasa, you're free to do whatever you like under the supervision of your parents. But in madrasa, we do not condone you bringing any jewelry that is shown. So if you're wearing something underneath, for example, and nobody can see it, like a necklace or earrings, and it's hidden behind your scarf, then there is no need for you to remove that. If they're always on, then you can leave them on. Talking about bracelets and rings and all of these things, please try not to keep them because they might be valuable, and if they do get lost, then we are not responsible. But then it goes directly against the madrasa policies. We do not allow any of them. Also want to remind all students, males and female, that there is a no electronic device policy. Anybody caught with a mobile phone or a smartwatch or anything that is of an electronic device nature, it will be confiscated and you will face disciplinary procedure, and it will only be returned to your parent. There are some exceptions within the madrasa. There are some students that need their mobile phone for a medical condition. They are exempt. And there is one student who has been granted an exception simply because they have 3 other siblings within the madrasa, and they are the one responsible for taking them home, and in case of an emergency they have been given that permission. But what this means is that they leave it on the table of the teacher and it is returned back to them at 7 o'clock. Now this type of exemption is very rare, and we only allow it in exceptional circumstances. Also, I want to remind all students as well that inshallah the parent portal will be updated regularly, so your parents will be up to date with all of your doings in the madrasa, good and bad. So if you're doing good, inshallah, the teachers will be very punctual with giving merits. And if you are misbehaving, then the teachers will also be very punctual in writing an incident report, which will be directly shown on the email of your parent that you have been misbehaving today. We want to remind everybody that the same disciplinary procedures are still in place. The detention protocols, suspension and expulsion are still in place. Alhamdulillah, they worked well last year, and we see no reason to change or improve or modify them in any way. And also, the Student of the Month merit system is still there. Inshallah, we will be getting some new takeaways and new restaurants and new dessert shops on board for the Student of the Month merits, so awarding those good students. And also, mashallah, many of you may have liked the end of year prizes. It just goes to show that inshallah, when you do well and you struggle hard, you will be rewarded. First of all, Allah will reward you the most, and as a means of encouragement, the madrasa will do their best to give out those prizes that the students like and the students love and the students can really appreciate. So we will always do our best to encourage high performance learning. And it is up to you as students to do your best this year, inshallah. That concludes today's assembly. Inshallah, it's been informative for you. I also want to mention that the same teaching method is in place, the group learning system, where one student reads and everybody repeats. And this will be continued and inshallah be improved this year. Also, I'd just like to mention as well that you might see me in your class more often. I will be coming into classes to observe lessons more often. And inshallah, this is just to push up our quality of teaching. So we will be doing this more often. Hopefully, inshallah, Allah gives us ease and removes all the obstacles from our path and allows us to provide a world-class education here at Islamic Center Scotstoun. We make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes it a reality. And also, I'd just like to end here on this note that the questionnaires that were given out near the end of last year, mashallah, I went through each and every single questionnaire one by one, made a list of all the good points mentioned, all the weak points and the areas that we need to improve on, and we have duly noted all of them. And for all of the good praise and the feedback, alhamdulillah wa shukrulillah, all praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all the areas that we need to improve on, inshallah, you will see those changes coming into effect. The reason why we like to ask for your feedback is so that we can start improving and implementing on those advices, those critical advices that you are giving. So whether you are a teacher, whether you're a student, and mashallah, the parents give very good feedback as well. So you will start to see some changes, and you can expect that the changes are being put in place because of the advice and the feedback from people. If it is good, inshallah, we will take it on board and we will use it to improve the madrasa. So on that note, inshallah, we will end today's assembly. Once again, welcome back to everybody and welcome to all of our new students. I do want to mention as well that the madrasa is now at maximum capacity. We have a huge waiting list, namely 160 students waiting on the waiting list. And they will be waiting for a year because we cannot cater for any more students. We simply do not have the space and facilities. So these students will stay on the waiting list for a very long time. And we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He grants us the ability and the facilities to expand so that we can cater for much more than 200 students, inshallah. This is a long-term vision, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through His qadr and through His might and through His assistance, inshallah, will make it a reality. On this note, we will end today's assembly. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.